Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2024 State of the City Address. Thank you all for coming today. We have a great turnout. In fact, today is a record attendance of 305, so thank you all for being here. Please help me give a big round of applause to Chris Collins for entertaining us on the piano. I'd also like to take a moment to thank our sponsors who are listed on the back of your program. You'll see that by the number of businesses that we have wonderful support from our members for this event. So let's give our sponsors a round of applause. I'd like to thank our production partners, Interface Video, Cheers Corporate Catering, and the Crossroads Event Center for hosting us. They do a great job with these events. And I know Bob and his team and all these folks work tirelessly to put events on like ours, so thank you very much. Want to thank, of course, and give a big shout out to Margie, Cheryl, and Logan from our office. Please help me give them a round of applause. They do a wonderful job. We also had some volunteers helping us this morning with sign-in, so thank you very much for our volunteers. We couldn't do events like this without our wonderful volunteers. And finally, I'd like to take a moment to thank the City of Lancaster and Mayor McDaniel for their continued partnership. I speak with a lot of chambers of commerce throughout the state of Ohio, and strong partnerships between chambers and their municipal leaders is not always the norm. So we really appreciate our working relationship. At this time, I'd also like to take a moment to recognize any of our elected officials. If you'd please stand, we'd like to thank you for your service. And at this time, I'd like to ask you all to stand as the Lancaster Police Department Honor Guard for the presentation of our colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing as Dr. David Uhl provides us with an invocation for today.
Will you join me in prayer? Almighty God, Father of us all, we give you thanks today, for you are good, and your mercies and loving kindness endure forever. We thank you that we're back together in this place for this occasion. Things have changed since last we were here. There are new leaders in our city and leaders in new positions. in our city, people who have stepped up and into important positions to help us move forward. We pray that you would bless, guide, and direct them as they lead. Today, we gather together to celebrate. There are great things happening in Lancaster, and at the same time, we realize there are very real challenges that need to be addressed. May we recognize that it isn't just the mayor or city administration or city council's responsibility to address these challenges. That responsibility belongs to us all, for we are all citizens of this great city. So help us as we celebrate the good things today and as we address the challenges ahead. And as always, we pray for our first responders. May you keep them safe as they work to keep us safe. Be with each city employee as they go about serving this city and its residents. We thank you for today, for your goodness to us, and I pray this prayer with a grateful heart, for we pray it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, David. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the Mayor of Lancaster, Don McDaniel, for the State of the City address.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you. It is an impressive crowd. Hopefully, I'll be interesting. So, the 2024 State of the City, we're going to go through some information I hope will let you see what we've done, where we're headed, and some of the big projects and things going on in Lancaster. So, the first thing I'd like to do is talk about some of our new city leaders. We have transitioned in some areas. We've added some new leaders over the last year, and I want to introduce them. Just raise your hand when I say your name and talk about your new position. So our first person I'd like to recognize is our Service Safety Director, Carrie Woody. When I was elected, I have the opportunity to appoint someone to run that position. It truly is, in my opinion, the most important position in the city. The overall operations of the city are handled by that office, and I've been really impressed with what Carrie's brought to the table. And some of these employees I'm going to talk about have been with the city for a period of time. They're in new roles and doing really great things for the community. So Stephanie Bosco has assumed the role of Port Authority Executive Director and Economic Development Director. We couldn't do it without her. She is doing a great job. Another longtime city employee who's transitioned to a new role is our city engineer, Kurt Schonk. Brings a lot to the table, a lot of things we're throwing at him. A very busy office and doing great work. Thank you, Kurt. Our Department of Transportation has a new leader. It is Tim Dietz, a 30-year employee, I think. Thank you, Tim, for everything you do. And LDOT is very busy. So the next person is an elected official, a longtime elected official, previously serving 20 years on city council, Tom Stoughton, our city treasurer. Thank you, Tom. And although not entirely new, returning to the city, Park Superintendent Steve Gayfield. Thank you for coming back to Lancaster, Steve. We appreciate your leadership. So the next area I'd like to talk about is some of the economic development that's going on in the city. You've seen the construction crews out, you've seen the dirt moving, you've seen projects advancing, and some of the projects I'm just going to highlight today. First, I'd like to talk about the Google data center. Google has made a $2 billion investment into Ohio. Part of that investment is Google Lancaster. It's a long time coming. The project is underway. We're seeing a lot of progress. So thank you, Google, for your investment in Lancaster. Next, I'd like to talk about Lancaster City Schools and their investment in our community. As many of you know, a new high school is going up. It'll be, in my estimation, the crowning jewel of a long-time facility improvement program, and we can be very proud of our schools and the citizens who backed it and what the students will have going forward. So, again, we have so many things going on, and I'm not going to talk about all of them, but we have some investment going on. Timber Top, the Kingsbury Senior Living Center living facility is underway. You saw the dirt move. I think it's going to populate my screen for me. I must have pressed the down arrow. But we'll talk about each one of these things. Kingsbury, that construction has started at Timber Top. It is an assisted living center desperately needed in Lancaster. So next, we're going to discuss, again, Miller Park. Everybody, a lot of questions about what's going on at Miller Park. That, as most of you know, is a long-term investment in the city water facilities, a new water treatment plant. Desperately needed to continue moving forward, economic development dependent on the city being able to provide utilities and water and wastewater and et cetera. So we also have our wastewater treatment plants have both been renovated. The Upper Hocking facility, our main facility, huge investment in the community. Excited about having those pieces of infrastructure in place for Lancaster going forward. Another investment, Clear Sky Health. If you've wondered what's going on across from Target, it is Clear Sky Health. It's a rehab hospital. Another facility that is needed in Lancaster. Rehab hospitals were available in Columbus and other places, but not here. So we're going to have one right here in Lancaster to help our citizens moving forward. Sheets on Memorial Drive at Pierce. Questions on the internet? Well, it's Sheets. We're excited about it coming. I think it'll be a nice asset to Lancaster. And then what I think is right now the crowning jewel of Lancaster's future downtown is the Shoemaker. Urban restorations, and many people have partnered to make this happen. $20 million investment in downtown Lancaster. Very exciting, very exciting. And then another huge investment in Lancaster, in the East Side Industrial area, Serba Solutions. Dirt has started moving, a $250 million expansion to that plant, adding jobs, adding technology, and building for the future. So thank you, Serba. We're happy to have you here and looking forward to that when it's completed and adding jobs. Metro is building a multi-family apartment complex on North Columbus Street, at the edge of the city near Hubbard Drive. Desperately needed housing, desperately needed. Everything we have is pretty much full. At Woda Cooper, additional housing on the east side, Sells Green off Sells Road, located near the, located at the top of the hill near, well, it escapes me, but up at the top of the hill on Sells Road, a 42-unit multifamily complex. And then on Granville Pike, Trilogy. Trilogy has been working for some time. I think they're nearing completion. Springs at Wyandotte Trail, another assisted living facility. Again, what I said about Kingsbury, senior living, very important. A lot of people are looking outside of Lancaster for places to have their parents live and have a great life. This is a beautiful facility I was able to tour. Very impressed with it. So, moving on, additional development in Lancaster. We're going to talk a little bit about what Adam H. is doing. The Starlight Center on Locust Street. I think we're getting ready for a ribbon cutting soon. This is an investment that the citizens of Lancaster, the Adam H. Board, their partners, have been looking for some time. We have had essentially very little, actually we've had no help for some of the people in need. We have a situation where resources for people with mental health issues, with emotional issues, with dependency issues, had nowhere to go. The Starlight Center is going to bridge that gap. Crisis stabilization, again, fill the gap between inpatient and outpatient care. 24-hour facility. Supportive mental health and substance abuse counseling. This is very exciting, and this investment in the community is going to pay huge dividends. Keeping in line with the Adam H. projects, Venture Place and Center of Hope, This is a 24-bedroom apartment complex on Venture Place here in Lancaster, transitional housing for people that need that help. The Center of Hope, right there next to the Venture Place, is going to provide programming support, activities, helping these transitional people trying to move to a better life, make that happen. They're going to, working together, make that happen. And then we've all seen people in need. Our homeless population. We're going to do a renovation with this. Adam H. is going to work with Lutheran Social Service, 1665 East Main Street, 7 additional shelter beds. Very needed. Going to be a great renovation. Fairhaven Place, the veterans housing, 3 additional apartments for veterans housing. So we ask what we're doing to help. These are some of the things the community has stepped up to the plate, trusted Adam H., passed the levy, and made these things happen. So very excited about these things. So moving on, street paving. This is what we did in '23. The alternate streets were paved also. Microsurfacing the streets, 2023. These projects have been done. Let's talk a little about 2024 paving project. One of the things as a city council person, one of the things as mayor, are they going to pave my street? Well, in 2024, using $3 million levy money, our citizens passed the levy to extend it for another 10 years to allow us to invest in their streets and infrastructure. So in 2024, you're going to see these streets paved completely. If you'll notice, the first several streets are in the old Tar Heat Elementary area. If you've been in that area, the streets haven't been paved for a long time. I would say 30 plus years or more. This will take care of that. Also out off Sheridan Drive in the Hawk Street, Beverly Hills area, those streets are seeing paving, as well as off of Independence Boulevard, Lexington and Valley Forge area, they will be paved. Those streets are currently terrible. This will take care of that problem. Well, my apologies. We'll go forward, not backwards. Maybe. So it looks like the laptop is frozen up. You guys can take it from here. So we're going to move to the 2024 street paving, $3 million project. The second part of the streets is a continuation of the off Independence. And then following that, we have some alternate streets, which we also hope to pave. I think we've been pretty successful with getting the alternates paved. And they are up back in the north end, the Lowe's Drive area, Shoreway, Scenic Place. So that is another significant investment that our taxpayers have made. So let's talk about state tax money and federal money for state and federal projects. Some of these are not absolutely confirmed, but we're pretty excited about the possibility. The Boving Road project, which will include Hamburg and BIS, South Broad Street project from the railroad tracks, which will include Hamburg and the South Broad split. Pedestrian study project looking at improvements to our pedestrian safety on Memorial Drive. We all know how difficult it is to cross Memorial Drive. Traffic is very heavy. We received a Corpo grant specifically to try to improve this and make it safer for people to get across the busiest street in Lancaster. And our Main Street Safety Project. We talked about community actions, improvements, and the investment that Adam H., Lutheran Social Service, and the partnerships have made. It's pretty difficult for some of our people to get to and from there on foot, on bicycle, and we've got a proposal out there for a $3 million project that would invest in pedestrian bicycle safety, including sidewalks and widening of the street. We feel pretty good about it. It's not a guarantee, but we're going to continue to work to make that project happen because we think it's very important. So, moving on, planning for the future. So some of these things we've already talked about, but I think it's important to highlight the significant investment in this community. So, the Miller Park Water Treatment Plant, $95+ million investment, hopefully completed in 2025. Currently, we're on target for that goal. After that, we can look at plans to restore Miller Park. Upper Hocking Wastewater Treatment Plant, Lawrence Street Wastewater Plant, between the two of them, $62+ million. One will be completed this year, hopefully. I think we're almost done. Yep, I'm getting the head nod from the superintendent. And then sanitation transfer station, $3 million investment. Campground Road Pump Station Force Main, $10 million investment. Lateral D trunk sewer providing facilities, infrastructure to the West End Industrial Park, a $5 million investment. And again, I think the crowning jewel of our educational community and Lancaster City Schools investment in the future, $125 million. Lancaster High School, scheduled to be completed in 2025. I can't say enough about how good it is to have these projects moving forward. So, some kind of announcements, but yet we're going to talk about a couple things that are already in place. I want to talk about Google again. Not only has Google invested in Lancaster going forward, but that investment brings construction jobs, 500 plus people working to make that development move forward, and they're going to be here for some time. SERBA, the work has started. Not only are we looking at jobs down the road, we're looking at construction jobs to make that project move forward. And let's talk quickly about the pipeline. The pipeline I'm referring to as economic development pipeline. We have inquiries, requests, site visits going on all the time. So we think we're making ground. We think we'll probably have announcements going forward, but we're competing against a lot of people. So we're proud of what we're doing. We're proud of the progress we've made, and we're excited about the future. So the last couple of things I want to talk about, state capital funding. So the House and Senate, for the Ohio House and Senate, I should say, has state capital money they can invest back into the communities. That's your taxpayer money going to the state and getting reinvested in Lancaster. I'm pretty excited about both of these projects. Our representative, Jeff Ray, announced last week that the city of Lancaster is going to receive funding for the Lancaster City Hall bell and clock tower. Many of you know that clock has not been functioning for some time, and there's desperate need of renovation. $150,000 to restore that, and we're excited about that. Elmwood Park, a beautiful neighborhood park, potentially beautiful neighborhood park that's not been maintained as well as it could be. $225,000 to renovate that park. It's a true neighborhood park. Playground, a small tennis court, small basketball court. There are no close parks near that area. This is going to restore that neighborhood character and allow a place for people to play. So, the state of the city. I believe it's strong. I'm very optimistic. And I think we are ready for the future. And last but not least, if we go to the slide with our CR code on it, that will be our Facebook page. I would encourage anyone that would like to get constantly updated information about what is happening in Lancaster, Ohio, to friend that page and get the information moving forward. We're going to make an effort. The things we talked about today are going to be on that page, and opportunities for employment, et cetera, will be on that page. So thank you very much. I'm going to now introduce our Service Safety Director and have her come up here and talk about the program going forward.
So, Mr. Competti, I'm going to ask, can you put that QR code up one more time? Thank you. Well, welcome, everybody. Good morning. Let's try that one more time. Good morning. Much better. So we're about 20 minutes in now. Wanted to make sure you were all awake and still with me. Thank you for putting the QR code up. Before we get started, I'm going to ask everybody to take out their phone really quick and go ahead and scan that real quick, because we'd like to keep you updated as we go. And although Mayor McDaniel told me that I could say whatever I wanted this morning, I have opted not to get fired on my first State of the City. So while you are scanning your QR code, I'm just gonna say thank you all for being here. It is such an honor to be here, and I am so thankful that Mayor McDaniel has given me this opportunity. I hope to get to know all of you much better in this new role and in this new capacity. I am the complaint department, so if you have things you would like to talk about, feel free to reach out to me if it hasn't been on the city's Facebook page yet. With that said, I'm going to introduce our speakers today for our videos. Our first speaker is 33 years in the business, graduated from Franklin University, has 2 lovely daughters that he loves to spend time with, and when he's not doing that or saving the world, then he's off either biking or enjoying his friends at Double Edge. With that, I will introduce Chief Steve Maffin with the Lancaster Fire Department. Let's give him a round, warm welcome.
She's always very flattering when she's got to stand up anywhere near a microphone before me. So eventually I'm probably going to have to ask for a raise to, compensate her for what she's doing. As she said, my name's Steve Maffin. I'm the chief of the fire department. And this year we decided, I guess there's 3 departments that are doing videos. And I don't know if that's because the mayor doesn't trust us to actually do public speaking or if he thinks he's letting us off the hook. But one way or the other, we were trying to decide in what order to do these. And he said, well, I'm really hoping that my presentation gets everybody excited about the state of the city and the future and everything. And so I don't want anybody to leave on a down note. So let's start with the fire department, because who doesn't love a fireman? And then we're going to wrap this up with Steve Gayfield talking about how great the city parks are, because we're going to need something to get your mood back up after Chief Snyder comes up here and bums you out. So with that being said, hi, I'm Steve Maffin. I'm the chief of the Lancaster Fire Department, where I've been the chief since June of 2022. And as of this April, I will have been working for the fire department for 30 years. Today we want to talk about where we've been as a department, specifically what we've accomplished in 2023 and what we see as our goals for moving forward through 2024 and beyond. We ended 2023 with a total call volume of 10,239 runs. 8,821 of those were EMS calls, which represents 85% of our responses from last year, with the remaining 1,400 and some odd calls being everything else: fire runs, service calls, good intent calls, anything that didn't fall under the umbrella of EMS. By the end of 2020, our staffing level was almost at historic lows. It was the lowest we've seen since probably the early 70s, and we were taking 3 times, if not 4 times as many runs. Beginning in January of 21, we were able to start hiring, and it's been a continuous process. In 2023, we brought on 8 additional firefighters, which brought, as of today, our current total is 82, and we're budgeted for 84. So we are 2 hires away from meeting our budgeted number of staffing, and we should have those filled within the next 60 days. It's tough from keeping the trucks staffed perspective, because we have a specific number because we know how many people it takes on duty every day to keep all the trucks running. And when right now, we have some people out with injuries and some other issues, and we still fill the positions, but we're spending more in overtime to make that happen. So as we went through staff reductions for basically a decade, and budget issues, and the economy wasn't doing that great, one of the tough decisions that was made by a previous administration with the budget cuts was to cut the vast majority of our fire prevention program out, and we were limited in what the resources we had for fire investigations as well. So part of this staffing number that we've agreed upon with the city administration is the ability to reestablish our Fire Prevention and Arson Investigation Bureau. We placed 1 inspector in the Bureau full-time in 2023, and once we reach our full staffing level of 84, that will allow us to put a second person in there on a full-time basis. So we've had a vehicle replacement schedule has been in place for years, and typically, we order a truck every 3 years. As far as medics are concerned, fire trucks are different. We would typically order a new medic unit every 3 years. With the challenges with the pandemic, everything got thrown off schedule, not necessarily by us, but more by manufacturing delays. So we actually ordered both of these trucks in 2021, and we just took delivery of them in the summer of 2023. So, and we had some mechanical challenges with trucks that had spent a year and a half longer on the road as a frontline truck than what they should have. So we were blessed to have the ability to order these trucks. And along with that, we've also, in 2023, we ordered the replacement truck for Medic 1 with the expected delivery of probably first quarter of 2025. The MARCS radio system is a statewide system that is actually administered by the state. So a part of this whole project is it effectively took the city of Lancaster out of the radio business. Any issues we have with communications towers or any of the big problems, it's on the state's shoulders to deal with that. On the local level, what that means for us is more interoperability with other departments. Every other department in Fairfield County is on the MARC system and beyond. Most departments, except for maybe some small rural communities, are all on MARCs. So with mutual aid agreements, if we go to another jurisdiction or they come to us, it's seamless communication. And it's the same thing with law enforcement. It's just a flip of a switch, and we are able to communicate with our partners at Lancaster Police Department much more seamlessly than what it used to be. We are also able to install a second washer and dryer system at Engine House 3 to complement the one we have at Engine House 1 that is specifically manufactured to clean our turnout gear. This enables us to maintain our gear for so it'll last a lifetime as expected to. And as equally, if not more important, it supports our cancer prevention initiatives and keeps our gear clean between actual fire calls when there's all the smoke and chemicals that get into them. We can get that gear washed and cleaned out much quicker with 2 sets of washers and dryers rather than just 1. So in December of 2022, it was discovered that a structural support that essentially holds up the floor underneath our trucks in the basement of Engine House 1 was crumbling and needed some serious work done. We had contacted structural engineers who came in and did an assessment, and between the structural engineers and the contractors, the work finally was completed about midway through 2023. So it was important just for the safety of the building, but also Engine House 1 is 125 years old, and I personally would like it to continue to stand for as long as possible. A new addition to our service capabilities in 2023 is the addition of a community paramedic. This is a fairly new concept within the fire service. There are some departments that's been doing it maybe for a decade now, but in terms of fire service, that's a pretty new concept. Our community paramedic does what he does based on referrals from not only our guys on the frontline trucks going out and handling runs, but also some other health agencies and social service agencies within the city. The easiest way to explain what he does is house calls. He goes out, some of his calls are strictly educational, getting people set up with social services that they may not have been aware existed. Some of it is for our more chronically ill, community members that need some kind of follow-up care, but they don't necessarily need to go to the ER. Our community paramedic fills that gap. And one of the benefits, aside from it's less taxing on the healthcare system overall, one of the benefits for us is we're seeing a reduction in some of the frequent calls to these same patients, which ultimately what that does is it frees up those frontline trucks for other emergency calls while the community paramedic takes care of some of the less acute, like not acute kind of illnesses. So moving forward into 2024 and beyond, we always have a wish list of what we would like to accomplish, what we feel would be a benefit for the community. It's actually laid out in a 5-year strategic plan that's updated at least annually, and the new edition's not out yet. I'm still working on it. However, the things we're looking at most importantly, first and foremost, is completing that hiring process. Getting those last few hires made and rounding out what our needs for fire prevention as well as everyday staffing. Beyond that, we're looking at a project that actually began with the onset of the levee passing is engine house replacement. We're working on a long-term plan that we hope to actually get some movement started on this year with the city administration and city council to look at strategically placing engine houses for replacement. Other news, we are we're actually working in a more short-term building project would be to, we're going to build a maintenance facility, a basic pole barn, if you will. Behind it, some property we have behind Engine House 3. That way, some of our maintenance needs that are taken care of in-house and we don't have to send our trucks away, we can get them out of the weather when that's happening. You know, we have smaller items that's probably not very fascinating to listen to, so that's our big ticket stuff. So overall, as a department, you know, we're in a great place right now. We're able to, and I have to say that's thanks almost completely to the levee passing. You know, we've got the resources we need to support the community, and you know, the support from the community in terms of the safety forces levee passing is, you know, something I mention on a daily basis, you know, in different crowds. You know, we see great things, you know, we're always pushing for, you know, what's the next thing we can do, or what service capabilities can we incorporate that'll be the most benefit to the community. And without the community support, literally none of this would be possible. I would like to end by just saying thank you to everybody from the community to safety, the Safety Committee of City Council, all of City Council, and the City Administration for their support with what we're doing within the department.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Taylor with Habitat for Humanity of Southeast Ohio. Here at Habitat for Humanity, our mission is simple. We bring the community together to build strength, stability, and self-reliance through shelter. Achieving this mission is made possible with the support of generous local partners like the Buckeye Cares program. That means Buckeye will make a donation with every vehicle sold this month. From all of us at Habitat for Humanity, we say thank you, Buckeye, for once again offering your generous support.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference. Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Good job, Chief Maffin, and thank you, Lancaster Fire Department. He has told me that he is the best fire chief there ever was, just so you know, in case you were wondering. He said he's not the guy that said that. But again, thank you, Chief Maffin. We appreciate that. Moving on, I will say our next chief is no stranger to the public eye and not a veteran either. I cannot say that he's the best police chief ever, only because my boss was the former police chief, and I'm afraid that, again, I don't want to get fired on my first day to the city. However, he is a wonderful police chief, and I will say 19 years working in the field, a graduate of the Ohio University. Chief Nick Snyder, if you want to start heading up this way. When he's not saving the world like Chief Maffin, he also has a wonderful son that he likes spending time with. He also really likes sports, is crazy competitive, and we told him he's not allowed to talk about all the highlights from the Super Bowl that he just attended. But without further ado, let's give a nice warm welcome to Chief Nick Snyder.
Good morning. First and foremost, I want to thank my officers for presenting the colors this morning. 3 of them are on night shift. So Tyler, Jared, Jimmy, and Eric, they're working all night and then coming in here for this event. So that was a big deal, and I appreciate that. And then also I think I saw Franklin and Mike taking pictures to help out with the social media aspect of this for the city. So I want to thank them. Steve's awfully brave coming up here and taking a jab at the police department before me. I have no idea what he was thinking there, but I'm not going to make a joke about him. I will stick to a fact, though, that this is the first time in history the fire department's been somewhere before the police department. So That's just a fact. That's not a joke. And Amanda, I see you. I saw Brian earlier. I serve on a board with Brian, the Lancaster Public Education Foundation. And there was an event we did this summer, right, that measured the competitive and athletic nature of both the fire department and police department. And another fact for everyone, Amanda, who won that basketball game? That's what I thought. Okay, another fact for everybody, not a joke. All right. So I'm not going to take up any of your time. This video, I'm sure, will be riveting. Try to put your seatbelt on and not cheer through it. So I will step aside now. But thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Cheer Chalet, for putting on the breakfast as well. Appreciate it.
2023 was a phenomenal year for the police department. I think first and foremost, unfortunately for the fire department, we obliterated them in the basketball game, but that's to be expected. We were able, again, to hire 10 officers, so we continue to grow, even though the nationwide trend to hire police officers is taking a downward trajectory. But the culture and the atmosphere is really attracting a lot of good young officers, and we're really proud of that. With the 10 officers coming in, the leadership is extremely important for those officers. In 2023, we revamped our entire promotional process, and it gives more access to the officers that want to be leaders in the department. They get to talk about their accomplishments and their history and their leadership experience. And that all goes into their promotional process, which is a great thing for our young officers. Also in 2023, probably the biggest achievement that we had was the establishment of a full-time directed patrol unit. And that directed patrol unit really attacks acute issues in our community, issues that didn't normally get the attention that they needed from the patrol division. Those 4 officers, there's 2 uniform officers and 2 canine officers, those 4 officers attack those issues and really give a personal feel and meet with the residents in that face-to-face contact. And we have seen results through the roof with that unit, and that's been a great large stride for us moving forward and getting more integrated with the community. There were several other accomplishments that we had in 2023, including our response to crime in general. We had a more responsive approach to law enforcement prior to this, and in 2023 we really took a proactive approach. And to explain that, we used to be on area watches or officers in the neighborhood about 3,000 to 4,000 times a year. In 2023, we hit almost 13,000 times a year. We were in the neighborhoods, attacking crime, attacking quality of life issues. And in turn, while I can't scientifically or directly correlate this to a decrease in burglaries, on average, we had around 270 burglaries a year, and it went down to 140 in 2023. So we're going to continue to do that moving forward, but the best part is we have the officers that are motivated to do that moving forward. Speaking beyond officers, our dispatch staff was at full staff almost all year. That's the first time in a long time for us. I think we went below staffing for a few months there with one of our dispatchers, but we have another one hired in now, and that has really created a good environment for them where they're not working overtime all the time, and it's really a healthier environment. Beyond that, the officers in the patrol division went to a new schedule, a 4-10 schedule, which is 4 days a week, 10 hours. And it really provides a wellness component to the officers where they're at home with their families a lot more during the week. And when they're at work, they're motivated to be here and motivated to make an impact. Also in 2023, we implemented our large-scale event deployment, and what that is things like the Lancaster Festival and large events where there's thousands of people in one concentrated area. Historically, we didn't respond to that the way that we should have, or the way that provides the correct level of public safety. And we sent a lot of supervisors to training. A lot of people put in hard work, and now at those large-scale events, as you can see when you attend them, we are there, we're organized, there's structure, and you can go to these events feeling safe and feeling free from the criminal activity that can sometimes enter into those events, as you've seen nationwide. And although those are a tragedy and will never be immune to tragedies, we are much more well equipped to handle a dynamic event at a large scale event moving forward, which is a huge step for our patrol division and our agency in general. Another issue that we were facing, although our recruiting was going well, a lot of the feedback that we got from our recruiting was the antiquated website and just our presence in general for people that might not be in the area, might not be familiar with us. So for those recruits as well as the community, we revamped our website. And if you visit our website now, you will see it's much more interactive. There are almost every form that you need to interact with us, to request our services, or to file a public information request. That's all online. And it's removed that middleman of calling in, getting a paper form, and having that barrier between us and the public, and it's connected us directly, which has been a big, big deal. Our community services unit used to consist of one dare officer and one supervisor, and we really rethought the processes here at the PD and how to deploy correctly for the community. Now that community services unit consists of a sergeant, a dare officer, 2 community services officers, and our directed patrol unit. From that, we are able to get out into the academies, we're able to get out into the businesses and really interact and connect with the community, and that is what has pushed and vaulted our recruiting forward. A lot of our recruits that come through the doors often talk about that recruiting process and talking to Sergeant Sims or talking to Officer Bennett and those individuals that are involved with that process and how that drew them into our agency, and that's been a big, big deal. Beyond that, just community events in general, that unit handles all of that, which takes a lot of the pressure off of the administration, takes a lot of the pressure off of officers who would work overtime to attend those events, and that unit is really thriving right now, making that key interaction with the community. Any one of these highlights in 2023 would be a monumental task, but because of the hard work of the men and women at the Lancaster Police Department, I'm really proud to say we accomplished all of them, and that's a very good feeling. What we can't do is be complacent and just stay static, so we're going to continue pushing that envelope moving forward. Moving forward, we need to grow. We need to grow with the city, we need to grow with our education, and we need to grow with our training. So there's going to be a large emphasis on advanced training and putting out the best product for our community when you need our services. This year, we've already scheduled 2 in-service training with our entire patrol division. We've already scheduled an agency-wide in-service training for response to active shooter. We've pushed a lot of inside initiatives as well as invited exterior agencies to come in and train with us, because when those dynamic events occur, we're going to be working with them. Also moving forward, we need to pay attention to the community's needs. We can't just do what is best practice for police agencies across the nation. We need to do what's best practice for Lancaster, Ohio. So we'll continue studying those needs, continue to deploy to best meet those needs. So this department must grow with the city, it must grow with its training, and it must grow with the product that it puts out there on the street. One final addition to our future plan is next year's basketball game with the fire department. It's going to be a massacre, unfortunately, so we're trying to learn how to best cope with the depression that they're going to suffer there on the court. So we're meeting right now to figure out how to let them down easily. Above all else, and all joking aside, we really want to thank the community for the support of this police department. One thing I always tell my officers is, you can go different places and feel some type of way about the way the community embraces law enforcement, but in Lancaster, Ohio, it's really a special area. We have overwhelming support here, and none of these things that I mentioned would have even been possible without the community's support. And so you're seeing a direct result from your investment into this agency, and for that, I thank you.
Again, thank you, Chief Snyder, Deputy Chief Tolley, and the Lancaster Police Department. They do a fabulous job. And just in case you're wondering, yes, they do have a very serious job that they do take very seriously, but you can tell they also like to have a little fun. And to address the biggest question on everyone's mind, all 3 leading roles today will be available after today's presentation to sign autographs. You're welcome. With that, last but certainly not least, I would like to introduce Steve Gayfield, the superintendent of the Lancaster Parks Department. Although Steve is a graduate of the Missouri State University, he has been in the park and rec business since he was 8 years old. So he has a lot of experience. Not that you're old, but 8. You started at 8, right? Okay. When he's not busy doing Parks and Rec business, he also loves hiking, biking. He does a little bit of everything outdoors. If it's outdoors, he loves it. He also spends time with his wife and his son, who is finishing med school, right? Residency. He's finishing residency. So we thought we won the lottery when we got Steve Gayfield to come back to Lancaster Parks and Rec. So I hope that you will join me in welcoming him back. He's doing amazing things. Steve, thank you.
Good morning. Thank you. Let's interact a little bit here. I am not going to pick on the police and fire department. Believe it or not, I actually started my career as a park ranger, so I have a little bit of law enforcement background, and I've also done wildland fire suppression as part of my career in parks. So Parks touches a little bit on everything, and they have a very tough job. And before I start talking about parks, I want to compliment both of the departments, the leadership, and their staff. My interactions with the safety services here, I've been all over the country, and this is some of the most professional interactions I've ever had. So please give them both a hand and their departments a hand. That being said, I am here to talk about parks. So I was told I have like 40 minutes to talk, and so I'll try to keep it under that. But that being said, one of my favorite things to do is to go talk to elementary kids, school kids, and talk about career day. You go in. And it was really enlightening to me because I had to follow police and fire. And it's always tough to follow police and fire because, policemen have cool uniforms and they handcuffs and all like bat belts and stuff, and firefighters have the fire trucks and all that stuff. But parks, we have parks. We mow grass, right? We do that kind of stuff. It's not quite as exciting. But when you go talk to kids and you ask the kids, after you come in after the police and fire, you ask them to raise their hands. How many of them have been arrested? How many people in here have been arrested? Unfortunately, hopefully, none of you have ever had a house fire had to deal with something like that. But how many of you, raise your hand because I want to see, how many of you have been in one of your city parks? Oh, yeah. So parks have a huge impact. I want to take the opportunity. I've been back here about a year. We're about a year into the levy, right? We are taking the opportunity, we're striving, and we've got a long road to go, right? We've got a lot of work to do. But I want to take the opportunity to thank you all, and I didn't say y'all. I was in Louisiana for 6 years. I say that a lot. But I want to take the opportunity to thank you all and the community for the support you've shown in the past and the continued support you have showed us as we move into the future. With that, I'll turn it over to the video. Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for the opportunity to talk to you about Lancaster Parks and Recreation and where we've gone since the levy passed a couple years ago. Last year, 2023, was the first year of the new levy, money coming in, so we started our operations and started planning and using the money to make improvements in the parks. A couple of the things I'd like to highlight that we accomplished last year. We accomplished paving the rear loop at Rising Park. If you've not had an opportunity to go back and see that, it's a vast improvement over what the pavement looked like in the past, and I highly encourage you to go take a look at it. We also have completed the Think Big campaign. If you're not familiar with the Think Big campaign, it was a needs assessment that was run by the park board, had some input from the Friends of the Lancaster Parks, and it gave us an opportunity to go out and talk to the community and survey and look at and try to find out exactly how they liked the levy money spent and what they were looking for in the parks and recreation services here in Lancaster. So that campaign is actually on our website. If you have an opportunity to go to lancasterparks.com, you can take a look and see what your fellow residents and hopefully you were a part of as we move into the future and we plan for the future. Next accomplishment I'd like to point out is everybody knows that we had purchased the old Sherman building. That's what everybody in town calls it, is the old Sherman building. We call it the community building, and throughout last year we spent a lot of time in the building cleaning it up, painting, getting it ready, and at the end of last year we actually have converted the old media center, which I'm sitting in right now actually, into offices and also 2 activity rooms that we're using for programming. One of the rooms right now, we're actually running our cornhole league and our adult cornhole league. If you ever want to put a team in, we're always looking for teams. So we're going to continue to move forward with that. But that is what we've accomplished here. The other big piece we did here at the community building was we built a partnership with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. They're occupying a portion of the building and leasing it from us. So their operations are here, and it's given us an opportunity as we work with them to look at some joint programming, to work with them, to reach out to the residents and try to get them involved here. It also, they are renovating that section of the building, so it's helping us with getting the building ready as we move into the future. So those are some of the things we've accomplished. One of the things I'd like to do when we talk about the levy is, first of all, I'd like to thank the residents for the support. This department couldn't function without the support of the residents, and the levy has given us the opportunity to really make some great strides forward in both our existing parks and what we can do in the future. If we didn't have the additional levy money coming in, we would still be functioning at the level that we were at in the past. We would still be doing Band-Aid repairs in our parks. We wouldn't be looking at developing new parks for the residents, which is something we're really looking forward to doing. I'll use an example at Rising Park. We paved Rising Park. That's something that probably wouldn't have happened without the levy money. We would have been looking for grants or other opportunities. We still look for grants. However, the levy money is a good backstop for us when we don't get them. And we're using the levy money wisely. We're trying to do it. We have so many projects that we've either postponed or worked on very slowly. We now have the opportunity to really plan them and start going out and addressing those projects in the parks, both repairs, maintenance, in existing parks, and then, like I said, we also now have the opportunity to develop new parks. Miller Park is an opportunity that is going to be, it's probably going to be a costly, build once we get to that point. So again, with the resident support, with the levy money that's coming in now that we did not receive in the past, we're going to have the opportunity to truly address both existing projects and new future projects moving forward. Now looking forward into this year and into the future, we're looking at a lot of different opportunities and options that we have. One of the things we want to focus on and that we think we really need to focus on is our existing parks. Again, we've had parks for many, many years. The department was established in 1909, and now we have the opportunity to go back and take a look at them and upgrade them as we go. So I'd mentioned the paving at Rising Park for one of the accomplishments of last year. We want to continue that into this year. And so we're actually looking at doing some drainage improvements in the lower section of the park. And then as we move farther into the future, continuing that paving through the park. But we have to address the drainage first. Obviously, it doesn't do any good to pave if you can't drain the water out of the park, right? Some of the other things we're doing as far as new projects is here, I mentioned the community building. We've moved recreation here. Well, again, short term here in the next month or so, probably by the beginning of March, we're going to be moving the admin offices over here. So this is where you're going to come in the future for any shelter reservations, if you want to sign up for soccer, if you want to sign up for football, if you want to come out and see what's going on here, this is going to be the site to do that. Phone number will remain the same, address will change, and all of that is going to come out shortly on social media so you all know where to go. We also, coming this year, have new trail construction that's going to begin over at the Lancaster Loop Trail. If you're not familiar with where that is, it is actually behind the AHA Children's Museum. We'll be off the existing bike path there, and that construction is going to start this spring, and eventually there'll be a whole loop trail back there. This is just phase one, just some improvements off of the trail, and that is going to be a nice trail that will go down through the wetlands. We're planning on using it as an educational trail, and it'll be a nice natural walk for people when it's completed. So we have that project coming up. A little bit farther down the road, and I know this is highly anticipated, we do have the pickleball courts on the agenda for this year, and we hopefully will get them built sometime this spring into early midsummer and have them ready to play by then. That is our timeline, and we're certainly hoping that we get some responses this time on that. Along with the pickleball courts, we have an existing bike path bridge at Martins Park that's been closed for a year. We had to close it for safety reasons. that also should hopefully get replaced this spring so we can open up the bike path so you can go from one end to the other and not have to skip around the detour we have in place. So those are both really exciting projects. Pickleball, I know, has been a long anticipated project, and we really, really want to get that done for the residents. Even bigger than that, though, and probably the most exciting thing we have coming down the path, not just this year but into the future, is we now have the opportunity to reimagine Miller Park. I know Miller Park was likely a hot topic when the new water plant construction started. Continues to be a hot topic. People want to know what we're going to do with Miller Park. Well, this year there was a conceptual plan done for Miller Park. Now is our opportunity to really take that conceptual plan and again reimagine a park, and that's exciting. It's not very often that the community gets an opportunity to take a park that's been in place. The pool was 100 years old last year, so you think how long that park has been there. Well, okay, so we lost part of it to the water plant, but we also have the opportunity to really take what we have, connect it to the community building, the old Sherman property as everybody calls it, connect it together and really think about a master plan for that and create a really outstanding new park for the community with their input. So that is probably the most exciting thing coming down the path for us, and that is what we're looking for into the future. Thank you again for the opportunity to talk to you, and hopefully if you have any questions you can call us at the new office. Thank you.
Well, another big thanks to Mayor McDaniel, Service Safety Director Carrie Woody, and our 3 department heads. Let's give them another round of applause for the presentations. Before we conclude today's event, we want to take a moment to celebrate a really cool achievement for the city of Lancaster. Last year, many of you may know, it was announced that the Ohio Magazine would be naming our city a best hometown, and we were featured on the front cover of the 2023-2024 publication. Please help me celebrate this momentous event by enjoying this short video we put together. Congratulations, Lancaster. You will see a partnership between Destination Downtown, Lancaster, Visit Fairfield County, and the Chamber of Commerce, as we will help celebrate the community's achievement with this designation throughout this year. So stay tuned for social media and lots of ways you can get involved. With that being said, that concludes our program today. Again, I want to thank you all for joining us. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.